Hello, welcome back. So in the previous session, we discussed about how to cancel a context by using with timeline when the time elapses, and then with the deadline when it reaches the deadline. So we can also cancel the context by using cancel with cancel. So this particular video is about how can we cancel a context by using with cancel function. With cancel function, yes. So let me go and code. So I'm going to create a directory, mk directory context channel with cancel. With cancel go mod init demo code main.go. I'm not going to write the whole code. Already in the previous example, I have written code, so I would like to just copy this code, paste this code here. If you have not heard my previous video, if you have not watched my previous video, you can go to, I'll give the video link in the description, then I think you can go and then watch that video. So here, so uh, generate sq is it generates the numbers and then squares the numbers and return to the channel. We take that particular channel. So in this particular thing, once it reaches the deadline, automatically the context gets cancelled. So instead of with deadline, we are going to cancel the context with cancel function. Context dot background, that's how you create a context. Assume that this is going to be the parent context, ctx comma cancel. Right. So when do you have to call this particular cancel function? There are different ways that we can, different scenarios that we come across to cancel this particular context function. So whenever you call with timeout and then with deadline, cancel function is automatically invoked as soon as it reaches the deadline. So but here we are we have to manually cancel the context whenever we find a scenario where by which we have to cancel the context. So what I do here is, again, I would like to use a time function, time dot after time dot millisecond into 1. That means after 1 millisecond, sorry, after 1 millisecond I would like to cancel the context. So for that, what I do is I create a function. Concurrently I have to cancel. I don't want to block this code. And then I would like to put a for loop. Inside that I put select. Then I wait for this particular function. What this particular function does is it returns a value to, it returns a channel once after 1 millisecond, basically millisecond into 1, that is nothing but 1 millisecond. After 1 millisecond it returns this particular channel. So as soon as we get the channel, I would like to call the cancel function. This is the function it returns. I would like to call the cancel function. So once I cancel, context cancelled. Let me put over here. I don't want to write any default case because it creates unnecessary code. Unnecessarily it may print certain things if I try to print with the default. So this code I'm going to delete. So to summarize, I create a context with cancel, and then it has to be cancelled as soon as it reaches this particular timeline, but not with timeout or not with the deadline. We are manually canceling the context. But one more thing is I also would like to break. So generally break breaks the case, even though break is by default in Go. So if you want to break the for loop, what you have to write it, break outer. Just outer is nothing but a label, right? So this is a go routine. It keeps on iterating for to fetch the value of this particular channel. Once it receives the value from the channel, it gets cancelled, and then it also breaks this particular loop. That's what the code is. And this particular code you already know. You can please go and watch my previous video about how to work with this, how this code work, how it does. And this is how fetching values from the channel. It fetches values from the channel until the channel is closed. When the channel gets closed, whenever it reaches a signal from the context, that done signal, then as soon as it reaches a done signal, and then it closes the channel. That's what about this particular example. Let me go and run. So yeah, concurrently it has printed here, but you can see that uh, within a millisecond it has squared these numbers. As soon as it after 1 millisecond, after 1 millisecond, a channel is returned, and then this particular go module picks that particular channel. As soon as it gets the value from the channel, uh, it cancels this particular context. As soon as the context gets cancelled, here in this particular go routine, it gets a signal that the context is cancelled. That means the done signal gets something called uh, closed signal. So as soon as it gets done signal, it's going to close this particular channel, and then since the channel is closed, then range loop stops receiving values, and then that's all. That's how you can implement this particular thing with the cancel. So we have seen three examples. One is called with timeout, with the deadline, and then with cancel. These three are very important things whenever you are implementing a context. Thank you very much. Have a great day.